Alright, welcome back to SouFLoTV again, everybody. It is your host with the most. Straight out of Jamaica, the news says that prosecution is seeking the death penalty for the alleged killer of Philip Paulwell's daughter and her mother. Now, if you don't know about this story, you must have been under a rock somewhere. This was the biggest story out of Jamaica for 2023 leading up to 2024. It was about a military service member of the United States of America Navy that traveled to Jamaica specifically for killing the side chick of her man. A man that she has a child with as well. When she found out that her man had a side chick that had a child with that side chick as well. And lo and behold, the man was and is a prominent politician. It was big news. We're talking about the Philip Paulwell news from 2023. Now, Paula Llewellyn of the DPP, Department of Public Prosecution, has made it clear that they will be seeking the death penalty in this particular case. As the article says, the prosecution is seeking the death penalty against David Smith. He is the one that is thought to be the person who did the killing. He is the alleged triggerman in the murder of politician Philip Paulwell's 10-month-old daughter, Soraya, and her mother, Tashina Patterson. Tashina Patterson and Soraya Paulwell. It was gruesome. That poor little baby had nothing to do with any of this. That poor little baby lost her life behind some messed up circumstances because of adults who could not keep it together. David Smith, he was served with a notice in the Home Circuit Court today, which is March 6th of 2024. Paula Llewellyn, who is the Director of Public Prosecutions, she read the request during the court proceedings where Smith and his co-accused Leota Bradshaw and Roland Balfour were physically present. The other two accused persons, they joined online. Now, these other two have also already pleaded guilty and are supposed to be getting some kind of a deal, or have gotten some kind of a deal with the prosecution where they won't be serving too much time considering what they did. Balfour is the cousin of Leota Bradshaw. Leota Bradshaw is the Navy petty officer who left the United States of America with the sole purpose, according to prosecution, the sole purpose of her trip to Jamaica was to take the life of this side chick who had messed around and had a baby by her politician significant other. David Smith, David Smith was unrepresented, meaning he didn't have an attorney, and he requested a lawyer, and a legal aid assignment was ordered for Smith. I guess it's just like in the United States of America. When they read your rights, you will hear them say if you don't have an attorney, one will be provided to you, right? So he will be provided with one. Maybe he can't afford one, such and such, that's the case. 10-month-old Soraya Paulwell and her mother, 27-year-old Patterson, they were abducted from their home in Gilmore Drive in St. Andrew on September 9th. They were allegedly taken to East Kingston, where they were shot and killed, and their bodies were burnt. For those of you who missed it, there were other parts to the story that were extremely gruesome, like small details, which I think are very important because it shows a lack of remorse. It shows complete wickedness and disregard for life. It shows a level of callousness that is unspeakable, so to speak. For you to execute a 10-month-old child with a bullet to the head in front of the mother of the child, menacing all along, I'm about to kill your baby, put a gun to the baby's head, and the mother, of course, mother's instinct kicks in and the mother is begging and crying, please take me instead, kill me instead, don't harm the baby. And one of the guys allegedly testified that the person who actually pulled the trigger to kill the baby, that baby was actually playing with that person not too long before the baby was killed. While they were in the vehicle heading to the place where they were going to kill the mother and the child, the 10-month-old baby was completely oblivious as to what was about to happen to her, and she was playing with who was there with her, right? Now, you know, if that baby had known that this person is about to end your life violently, that baby would not have been playing, but it's a baby. And the baby had no idea. That baby probably thought, I'm just going on a ride with mommy. Mommy is right here. I'm good. Who are these other people around us? Hey, hey. She's 10 months old. Now, for you to be that cold as a human being, as an adult, to play with a baby and then execute the baby with a bullet to the baby's head in front of the mother while she begs. I mean, this is significant information that I think needs to be given deep consideration when it comes time for sentencing in this particular case, right? Okay, they were allegedly taken to East Kingston and they were shot and killed and their bodies were burnt. Another significant part of their testimonies or information that was released was that Leota Bradshaw instructed them on how she wanted the mother and the child to be killed. Not only that, she was present to have it done exactly how she wanted it done. And her last words to the mother, first she wanted the mother to watch her 10-month-old be executed. I want you to think about that as an adult, as a parent. Can you sit there and watch somebody put a bullet in your 10-month-old child's brain? Could you imagine? And then you turn the gun on the mother, right? And as she turns the gun on the mother, it is said that she said to the mother, you must stop mess with people, man. Or stop take people, man. In other words, you were effing with my man. Now, stop mess with people, man. And that's the message she sent her out of this world with. Bullet to the brain of the mother as well. Execution style. They were both executed. So, the alleged mastermind behind all this is the United States Navy Petty Officer Leota Bradshaw, and she is also the companion of prominent politician in Jamaica, Philip Paulwell. For those of you who are still saying Philip Paulwell was a part of this, but they're keeping it hush, there's absolutely nothing that leads to him being any part of this. But we're not here to discuss Philip Paulwell. We're here to talk about the DPP, Director of Public Prosecution Paula Llewellyn, and her recent announcement that she will be seeking the death penalty for the trigger man. See, for those of you who followed me for a while, you know how I feel about Paula Llewellyn and the way how she does things, right? She gets the job done when it's convenient for her. I'm looking at this case in a particular way, right? If you are going to seek the death penalty, first of all, Paula Llewellyn cannot seek no death penalty. And I hate when they waste time and waste taxpayers' dollars and they go bolstering and posturing, because that's what it is. You're posturing. You know, like when somebody is posturing like, what's up? What's up? Look, what's up? And know damn well that they can't fight and there is not going to be any fight. That's what they do. So Paula Llewellyn is posturing. We're going at this hard. We're going for the death penalty. Paula Llewellyn, please tell the people that the law lords in England, the United Kingdom, controls Jamaica. And they said it is inhumane for Jamaica to use the death penalty. Hence the reason why we have had some of the most gruesome murders and murderers, and no death penalty has been activated for any of them. We had a family that got wiped out the other day. Mother, father, child. We had another one where it was the grandmother and her 2 grandkids who were both girls, all slaughtered inside of their house. Apparently they were looking for somebody else and kicked the doors in, and that person wasn't there, and they killed everybody else. They caught the people in some of these cases, and none of these cases brought about the death penalty. Oh, lest we forget, the case from Cocoa Peace, Clarendon, where the cousin of the young lady killed her and all her children. Where was the death penalty in that? They postured up and they said, we're seeking the death penalty. And then they came back later and said something about a deal was made, so the death penalty is now off the table. Just go ahead and tell the people this. There will never be any death penalty. Jamaica cannot activate the death penalty. Does Jamaica have the death penalty? Yes, they do. Was it ever abolished from Jamaica's law books? No, it's still there, but they cannot use it because those who are superior to them told them that it's not a good look to use it, and they are, of course, trying to appease and please those who are their superiors, so they will not use it. That's just the facts, right? So there will be no death penalty in this particular case. Now, as far as my personal opinion on what should happen to the guy who pulled the trigger and did that to the mother and her 10-month-old daughter, I think that he should get the death penalty. I think that they should make an exception in the law. I think that they should execute this individual. However, I know that it's not, mark my words, I bet money on it, it's not going to happen. Come back and visit this video when it is all worked out, and you will see that I bet the death penalty is not going to be activated for this case. Bolstering, posturing. I think he should get it, but he won't get it. Now, realistically speaking, let's go with life in prison without the possibility of parole. That's the best that Jamaica could do. Life in prison without the possibility of parole. We should be talking about 50 years for each person. 50 for the mother, 50 for the daughter. 2 life sentences to be served each. 50 years before you're even eligible for parole. And let's run them consecutively and not concurrently. Because when they run it concurrently, 100 years ends up turning into 50 years. And if that person is 27 right now, and he gets to go to the parole board 50 years from now, he'll be 77, right? So he'll still have life to live. Like, what if he is lucky enough to live to be 100 years old? He gets out of prison for a gruesome murder like that at 75 years old, 77 years old, ends up living on almost another 30 years until he is 100. We don't know. We want to make sure that this individual never comes out of prison again, that he uses the rest of his natural life to think about what he did. Matter of fact, I don't think that somebody like that who is capable of doing something like that, especially for the reason behind why he did it. Oh, this girl sleeping with my man and had a baby with my man, so I'm going to pay you $500,000 and I'll give you half of the money up front right now, and I want you to execute her and the baby. And you do it? You do that? And that's the reason? The reason wasn't because she killed your mama? The reason wasn't because she took the life of your own child and you exacted the same kind of justice? The reason was because somebody came to you and said, here's some money, kill this person for me. Somebody who you had no beef with, somebody who had never done anything to you wrong in this whole lifetime, you picked up a gun and blasted a baby and the mother in the head. You should never, ever return to society amongst civilized people ever again. That should be the punishment for him. Now let's talk about the punishment for Leota Bradshaw. Leota Bradshaw is the alleged mastermind, the United States Navy petty officer who took her time. She was in good standing in the U.S. Navy. Okay? So to be in good standing, you can't just get up and just leave. You must have applied for leave, emergency leave, something. I don't know how she did it, but she was in Jamaica with a quickness after she found out. She found out that this woman got pregnant and carried a baby to birth and has a baby that's 10 months old for her man. And within a week of her finding out, that woman and her baby are dead. With the precision that she flew into Jamaica with blinders on, we call it mission focused in the military. That is all Leota Bradshaw saw. If she is, they say allegedly, because she has not been found guilty in a court of law, but everybody else in this case has already confessed, right? So she flew into Jamaica with precision thinking. This is what I came to do. Where I'm going to gather up my troops. We're going to plan how to lure her out of the house with the baby. We need her to bring the baby because the baby has to die too. Damn. You masterminded that? I mean, you could have killed the girl if you were that mad, right? But you killed the damn baby too? And it was said that she came out of the house when they pulled up to her house. A dark tinted glass car came up to the gate of the residence she lived at. She came out of the house first without her baby. She went to the vehicle. She went back and got the baby and went in the vehicle. They weren't going to leave without the baby. So they had to mastermind a way to lure her with the baby to get her to bring them where they wanted them to go. And now we're in a kidnapping because they knew it's a part of their plan. They orchestrated this as a group. Once we get her in the vehicle, no turning back. She is not going to be released to go back home. She went missing. They were all over the news for a while. And then their remains were found. I think that Leota Bradshaw, the United States Navy petty officer who flew to Jamaica, orchestrated all this, paid for it, and had it carried out. I think she needs to be in prison for the rest of her natural life as well. Since she won't be getting a death penalty, she needs to be in prison for the rest of her natural life. And, okay, if you want to separate law and say, well, somebody could plan this and tell you to do it, it doesn't mean you have to do it. So the person who planned it is not as guilty as the person who did the killing. In my mind, they are one in the same. In my mind, they're one in the same, and they should be punished accordingly with the same punishment. But if we're going to be funny about it and try to scale it back, right? Okay, Leota Bradshaw cannot get anything less than what Paula Llewellyn and her crew cooked up and gave Vybz Kartel and the guys. 35 years before you're eligible for parole. 35 years at least before you are eligible to see a parole board. That should be the minimum that Leota Bradshaw gets. And remember, Vybz Kartel got that with one person, one body that they never found. So, and we found the baby, Soraya, and her mom, and they are able to tell, even though badly burned, exactly what happened to them, the mother and daughter couple. So 35 before you're eligible for parole for Leota Bradshaw, that's light sentence. If you honestly ask me, I would say she should do 35 for each person. 35 for the mother, 35 for the child, which equals 70 years, and she would have to complete 70 years before she is eligible for parole. And the guy that pulled the trigger, he should be hit with 100 years, 50 for each one, before eligible for parole. But, mark my words, none of them are going to get anything close to that, right? They're going to start at a certain number. And then the judge, because that's how Jamaica's law is, the judge is going to just start to scale it back. Oh, we'll start at 50. And then I'll take off 5 years because you were an upstanding citizen and this is the first time you have ever been in trouble with the law. So now we're at 45. And I'll take off 5 more because you are still young and you did not commit this act yourself, even though you thought it up and shared it with people who conspired with you and carried it out. So we'll shave another 5 off because you weren't the actual trigger man. So now we're at 40. Remember, we started at 50. Now we're at 40. And then, now that you've decided to plead guilty, we'll cut that 40 in half. And now we're at 20. And then I'll add, this is exactly what is going to happen in this particular case. I'll continue to wait. And I don't want this to be drawn out until 2029. I want to see this case go to court now. I want to see this case treated as a priority, and I want to be around to see what the outcome of this case is. But mark my words, I tell you, front page news today, Department of Public Prosecution led by Paula Llewellyn will be seeking the death penalty for the alleged killer of Philip Paulwell's daughter and her mother. And I'm telling you right now, like we say in Jamaica, nothing Augusta. She's issued notice to the individual that they will be seeking the death penalty against you, and he is now aware. His name is David Smith, and he has asked for an attorney because he does not have an attorney. He ain't getting no death penalty. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about this one. Tell me what you think should happen to David Smith, who is the alleged trigger man who took a gun, put it to the head of a mother and a 10-month-old and blew their brains out, and now he's sitting in court. What should happen to him? And then tell me, what do you think should happen to Leota Bradshaw, who is the United States Navy petty officer who flew to Jamaica, orchestrated all this, and stood there while it was carried out according to her plans? I'll catch y'all on the next video. I say justice for baby Soraya. I say justice for her mama as well. Don't forget about them. I'm out. Peace.